everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Flash #1. This is a new book from DC Comics, written by Cy Sperry, with art by Mike Deodato Jr., colors by Trish Mulville, letters by Hassan Otsmane Elhau. In this issue, Wally West races towards the future with an all-new creative team. Wally has never been quicker, more fulfilled, more heroic. His loving family is around him, and yet something is off, very off. His evolving understanding of his powers has opened Wally to new avenues of sci-fi adventure and attuned to his senses to strange new ideas. Something whispers in the dark from the vibrations beyond the Speed Force, and Wally experiments with a creative new approach to his powers as he encounters new realms, mysterious allies, mind-shattering terrors. A new era of the Scarlet Speedster begins now. Yeah, it really does. So, I mean, first of all, this book, I have been reading a little bit of The Flash, like the 1 Minute War event. I read that, but that was a lot based on the family. So I don't really know if Wally was carrying the series or Barry. Like, it's but I think for this issue, because we are focusing on Wally, it doesn't require you to be caught up on everything that's going on with the Flash. There's definitely a few little nuances that you'll be like, what's going on? But I think the book definitely tries to get you up to speed. No pun intended there. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. And Mike Deodato Jr., very experienced comic book writer, comic book illustrator. As you can see here, I think his the use of panels, multiple panels here, really helps with the pacing, even if it's just like dividing up the same image. And for a speedster book, you really need to find a way to show that how the speed changes and how everything is going faster for some of these characters and others. As you can see, there's definitely a lot of narration that really tells you what is going on, who these characters are. So it definitely tries to be very new reader friendly. I think one of my favorite things on this one, though, and as you can see here from the lettering, Hassan Otsmane Elhau does a really fun thing where, as they are talking, sometimes they use small, they use capital letters, sometimes they use small letters. Like, I think to me, this tells me that they are going so fast that sometimes their dialogue, it's like it sounds a little bit different. Like sometimes they start speaking too fast, or even here where they're kind of injured at the bottom of the panel, like they, like he starts talking a little faster. Like, to me, that's what it tells me. When it gets smaller, you hear it a little bit less loud because it's going so much faster, right? Because it's speeding up. So I thought that was really fun. And like I mentioned, I think the dividing panels just really also there to display like this is something faster. The really cool big splash page here. Really appreciate that. When we finally catch up with Wally West, we get to see some classic villains. Gorilla Grodd and his army of gorillas are on the loose. But this book is about so much more than that. This book is about Wally and his family and the family dynamics, and also about Wally just discovering more of his powers. So I think overall this was a fun issue. I don't know that I'm hooked yet on the premise. That it does leave at a really cool place, but I think I want to read the next one to see how that pays off. But yeah, I quite enjoy this issue, but I think it's adding a new book to my pool is there's a lot of requirements there because there's just so many already that I need to be a little bit more strict when it comes to adding new stuff. So I'll give this one more issue to see if this is something I want to read month to month, or maybe I'll read this in the trade. So yeah, we'll see. But highly recommend you check this one out. I think Cy Sperry is a fantastic writer. So definitely really cool seeing him do a Flash book. So if you read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell, so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War, Red Hood #1, This is a one shot that continues the story that we are following in the Batman and Catwoman series of books for the Gotham War. This is written by Matthew Rosenberg with art by Nicola Cismejia, colors by Rex Locus, and letters by Troy Peteri. In this issue, the Gotham War has fractured the Bat family in dramatic ways, none more intensely than with Jason Todd. This stunning event will forever alter the destiny of the man who wears the Red Hood. Yeah, I mean, Red Hood has always been the wild card in the Bat family. So I think it's really fun to have him here. Also, I really enjoy Matthew Rosenberg writing anything Batman related, especially Jason. Like, I think he's the perfect character for Rosenberg to write. Just really fits his style, and you can see it in this book. Like, we have Red Hood is on the side of Catwoman, right? He's willing to give these henchmen a chance, have them train to make sure that the non-violent crimes go down, because but he's still a vigilante and he's still out for his own mission. That's very clear here. Red Hood is always kind of like on the search for the Joker at one point or another, and this comes back here. So yeah, we get to see a little bit of Jason Todd and Catwoman trying to work together, trying to put their differences aside. They both have their own styles of training and leadership, if you will. So it's kind of fun to see them put that up against each other. So let's talk about some of the art here. Um, I mean, this looks great. Like every single panel that I look at, I really, really like. I think Sismesha is doing a fantastic job. Very dynamic. I love when you keep some of these characters in the shadows, like especially this panel here at the bottom. And then just Red Hood, the fact that he's more intimidating when you can't really fully make him out. Like, like you can't see his mask, you can only see his eyes. I love this panel where he's just kind of flipping down the from the building. That's really cool, just to show the motion. And this shot, like this point of view shot of the Red Hood throwing that guy into the traffic and Catwoman stepping in. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. There's a lot of fun action, and then just the conversations as Red Hood intimidates these henchmen, right? That he's had run-ins with before in the past, but now Catwoman has asked, like, let's train them, let's make them better, so that they don't have to go work for Scarecrow or the Joker or like, all these other insane criminals. So I think it's an interesting approach. I think it makes for a really fun outing. I will say, I think the Gotham War has been a really fun event, but I can see how it would be hard for new readers or readers that are just getting into comics to follow along, because you have to skip from one issue to the other. And I talked about this a little bit more on the I Read Comic Books podcast, so make sure to go listen to that episode. I'll link it in the description of this video once it's out. But yeah, I mean, you start out with a one shot, hop into the Batman book, next on the Catwoman book. Now we have this Gotham War one shot again, and then we go back to the other book. So I think if you're not reading this, I would definitely recommend you check this out once it's collected, or maybe once it hits the DC Infinite app. But this is so much fun. Like I said, I love Rosenberg writing Red Hood, and just the art team really, really nailed it. So if you enjoyed this book, let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Action Comics 1057. This is the beginning of a new arc. Before we get into the book, let's talk about it, because we have 3 stories on this one. So I'll talk about all the creative teams here first, and then we'll look at the first story, which is the main story in the book. I don't have preview art for the other 2, but one of them is an ongoing thing, so you can probably kind of tell, and the other one does kick off anything. So the Home Again story continues by Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks. So you probably already have a glimpse. If you've been enjoying that story, I really, really recommend you check it out. I read the first few chapters of that, and I just realized that I want to see that all once. I feel like that's gonna be all collected into one really nice thing, uh, because we are at like part 7, and each of those is like maybe 8 pages or so. So I think it's gonna make a really nice collection once the whole story is done. Dan Jurgens is a fantastic writer, so I have a lot of faith in that. And Lewicks's art is beautiful. So we also have a new story called Super is as Super does, written by Magdalene Visaggio, with art by Matthew Clark, colors by Matt Herms, and letters by Rob Lee. That's a very different story. It's completely new. It focuses on Superboy, so definitely recommend you read that as well. I will read that once it's all completed in the next few parts. So let's focus on the main story for now, which is what I'm reviewing here. This is the New World story written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Rafa Sandoval, colors by Matt Herms, and letters by Dave Sharp. In this story, as the Super Family and Steelworks rebuild their city, a new golden age of Metropolis has begun, but not everyone is happy about it. As the charismatic but volatile young terrorist leader Nora Stone reveals herself and her vision for a city without Kryptonians, members of the Super Family inexplicably start losing their powers, and a new team of metahumans emerges to take their place. Who is Nora Stone, and what is her strange obsession with Clark Kent? Yeah, this was a fun one to dive into, and let me tell you what I loved about this first and foremost. I think Philip Kennedy Johnson has manages to write not only the big bombastic stories, but like also the smaller, quieter moments, all done in such a really, really fun fashion. Like, this is the stuff I love about Superman is some of the stuff that Philip K. Johnson is just he's just writing that stuff, right? Let me pull up a page because I want to talk about it. This is right. This to me would have been just a really nice chapter. We have Superman here. He's eating lunch at the top of the building with someone. As the conversation develops, they're talking about the struggles about being fathers and stuff. And right before he leaves, you find out that Glenn was somebody that Superman had previously put in jail, and he mentions to him, like, I'm not checking up on you. I just like to eat lunch with my friends. And it is that belief that Superman has in people to be their better version of themselves and to improve themselves and to better themselves and, get a better life that I really appreciate. Like, and that was all done in just 2 pages. Right. One big spread, but that will cover 2 pages. And then we get right into it. This is just like a little prologue before we kick off the story. I also really like the margins here. Like, it makes everything feel very cinematic as well, right? The little film reel, and yeah, I guess it could also be for a camera, but just the way that the panels are like in widescreen, it just gives me that feeling of like, yeah. The one thing I'll say, I wish they had a credits page that was separate, so they could just have all the credits there for the creators instead of having me having to look around all over the page. But it's still very nice, really cool stuff. And I just, that's what Superman is and what Superman should do. We also get a lot of Clark Kent in this issue and how capable he is as a reporter. Granted, a lot of this could be aided by the fact that he has those superpowers, but yeah, it's a really first fun issue. It leaves you in probably one of the biggest cliffhangers around, and it's just really, really fun. Like, this to me, I haven't been enjoying an Action Comics run in such a long time as much as I am this one, and I'm very happy for this new chapter. So very excited to see what happens next. I can't believe I'm reading so much Superman. As a big Batman fan, like, the fact that I'm reading so many Superman series is insane. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Power Girl #1. This is a new book from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into the book. Written by Leah Williams, who's been writing Power Girl for a little while now in the back of either the Superman or the Action Comics issues. We also have pencils by Eduardo Pansica and inks by Julio Ferreira. Colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., letters by Becca Carey, and a great cover by Gary Frank and Brad Anderson. There's also a few more covers that you can see towards the end of the video. So what's going on here? Let's talk about it. In this issue, Power Girl finally stars in her own epic ongoing series again. Pretty, punchy, and powerful. After all the events of Night Terrors, a long, dormant Kryptonian threat has returned to take down Superman and his family. Who could possibly stop it? Well, according to the Men of Steel, it's Power Girl. Witness a road trip against time as Paige reconnects with her roots to save the world from her deadly past. So yeah, Power Girl finally getting a big mission on her own. If you're not caught up on everything, this book really puts a lot of stuff into perspective as to what's been going on. Why are we calling her Paige? Who the people around her are. So yeah, it really introduces you to all that stuff. And it's really fun. I think it's really fun. So I also think Leah Williams manages to balance a story that has action, a little bit of comedy, and it just like has that levity every once in a while to like, hey, it can be fun while we're still kicking butt. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. We've been dealing with this group that doesn't want any aliens around, and they're protesting at this party. We see here Paige a little bit undercover, but it's really cool stuff. Like, I really like that she has found her own identity within the family, within Earth, right? She's different. The Power Girl is different than Supergirl, so obviously she has to find her own identity. She has her own people that that are helping her out. She has her own gang, so that's really cool. We've been seeing all that all throughout the little one shots, but here you get a glimpse of their chemistry and everything that's going on. So I really enjoy that. We also get to learn the origin of her nickname, which is also very fun. Omen's a really fun character, so I really like when they just kind of interact and goof around. But of course, things have to get serious, and like I mentioned, Williams manages to find that balance. I think the art is very striking when it needs to be. I really like the character designs. I like the approach to the pacing, and then once the action gets going, like, it looks like great action. As much as I really enjoyed the previous style, I think it was Marguerite Sauvage that was working on a lot of that stuff. Like, it would have been great if Sauvage could have kept going, but I welcome this new team to figure out, what they can do and how they can tell this story. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for the Schlub #2. This is a new book from KLC Press and ImageComics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Ryan Stegman and Kenny Porter, with art by Terrell Cannon, colors by Mike Spicer, letters by John J. Hill. So if you haven't caught up on the Schlub, this is a Freaky Friday situation where a superhero and a dentist who's down on his luck and kind of a bad dude, like, overall. He's just not a good person. They change bodies, and of course, shenanigans ensue. In this issue, Roger's new superhero body and ego are put to the test against a real life supervillain. Can Roger and Cirrus find a way to stop the evil sorcerer's worm, prove to his family that he's not a screw up, and stop the city from getting destroyed all at once? Let's hope so. As I was going into this series, I already knew I was gonna like the the comedy aspect of it. But this issue showed me that there's a little bit more going on once you get past all the, once you scratch the surface. There's a little bit of heart in this comic book that I really appreciate. Um, in this, Roger as Sarah's, he overhears a conversation, right? He has superhearing. He overhears a conversation between his brother and his ex-wife, and they really just talk about how they care about him. And I don't think this is. I think Roger's been so jaded by everything that's gone wrong in his life that he just doesn't feel like anybody loves him or respect him. He kind of feels like everybody blames him for everything that's happening. That's really interesting. That's kind of what I like the most about this specific issue. There's a lot of things to like, but that was a part of it. I love a comic book with heart. I like when you get to realize how relationships work within these characters, family dynamics, especially now that Roger, even though he has all this power, there's still some things that he just can't do, right? Some things that he has to work out within himself. In the meanwhile, we see Sarah's in Roger's body, and there's so much fun stuff there. Like, not only do we get some really cool world building as Roger, or yeah, Roger, or as Sarah's visits this library to get more information on what's going on, but we get a little bit of exposition about his world, what's going on, his own strained relationship with his family. Really cool stuff. All this highlighted by Tyrell Cannon's amazing art, Mike Spicer's beautiful colors. Like, it just all works very well. I think this is a fun romp. It's very different to anything else that I'm reading, so I'll definitely say that. And I don't know if everybody's gonna enjoy this comic, but I think everyone should at least give it a chance. And if you already sold on the first issue, this second one is just going to cement that even more. And of course, as I mentioned in the synopsis, the fact that we still have this looming threat. Like, we have all the issues that they have personally, but we also have this looming threat of, like, oh yeah, Worm and his band of baddies. Like, they're still seeking to destroy everything, right? There's a reason that they attacked in the first place in the beginning. So yeah, very cool stuff. Some really funny jokes. Sirius discovers the effects of caffeine in a human body. Also, just him being in a human body and experiencing all these things. It's hilarious. There's so many good jokes. There's a really fun one where he's like, "I had my 2 hours of sleep that in his superhero body would have been enough, but obviously in this case it's not." So let's take a look at some of the art as well, as I wanted to highlight that. As I mentioned, and this is really a combination of Spicer's work with Cannon's art, right? Like, the how dingy and dark these colors are here in this first page as we go through the train station, and then once we go through the magical portal, like, the contrast is so like, I really like it. I like the Canon designs for, like, all these little things, like the sentries and the librarian, like, just everything feels very interesting. And then we get a little bit of foreshadowing, as I mentioned, of the strained relationship between Sirius and his dad and all that stuff going on, which I'm sure will get paid off later on. But yeah, we also get to see some action shenanigans and big bombastic, like, sequences of action. So very exciting stuff. As I mentioned, I'm really enjoying this book. So hopefully you check it out. It's different. That's all I can. That's the best selling point I can tell you, because I think at this point it's just different than everything else that I'm reading, and you guys kind of know what I'm reading if you check out all the videos that we do for the channel. So you'll see at the end of the video a cover for the variant covers for this. So make sure to check those out. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, number 4. This is a new book from DarkHorseComics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Tate Brumble, with art by Isaac Goodhart, colors by Mikel Muerto, letters by Aditya Bidikar, all based on an idea by James Tynion IV. Uh, so let me catch you up with this specific issue. Christopher, Dracula Boy, and the rest of our teenage monsters are rescued by a mysterious son of giant and teleported to safety. But the group is split on how to go back to a normal, how to go back to normal in a world of monster hunters who want them dead. So yeah, the gang has been dealing with this cult of monster hunters. They're all dressed in white, and they really have nowhere to turn other than each other, except for maybe one of the detectives on the town. But she also faces her own difficulties with corruption, and we don't really even know how far that goes up. So that's something that really gets played out in this issue, and that's kind of what we kick off with. We also introduce every issue's kind of been introducing a new member of the gang, which I think it's been really fun. There's even some really cool variant covers for each one of those, so you can see some of that at the end of the video. But I think that's really fun, right? That we introduce a different character as the first arc goes by, almost as if you are putting this like monster squad in. I don't mean to be like the movie, but just like putting up this squad of like uh, this group of people that kind of need each other. um this is also one of the first times we see more like outright weird supernatural like powers coming from someone else, because we do see someone get teleported, which is very interesting. Like that is the most forthright that we've seen. That I think there's been a lot of hints at a lot of stuff like that in the book. Obviously, there's a big supernatural element to it with all these creatures, but this is the first time I've seen it where it's like I was not expecting. Oh, they can teleport. That's cool. So let's talk about the art a little bit. I think Goodhart continues to do an amazing job with facial expressions, the pacing of the book, and then just these little quick shots of the like how funny and just clumsy the group looks as they are escaping. But it just kind of displays how tough of a situation they're in. And here I love opening the umbrella, just kind of highlighting like we don't know what's going to happen, and then boom, we go to the next few pages and we see everything kind of spring into place. I love the different action shots for like, here come the monster hunters, here's what the Atom is doing, popping the umbrella, and then here comes the ray of lightning. And as I mentioned, our the detective having her own issues here. So even here, I love that. Uh, as you can see from the narration, let me go back to the first few pages. She is talking about the report. Like this is kind of what she wrote in her notes. To me, that's how I took it. The pink is what she's writing down in her notes. But then if you see here, the pink ends, and then we have this box at the bottom, which is like, oh, she changed stuff for the actual report that she turned in. So, like I said, everyone dealing with difficulties. But I think if the group figures out that they are stronger together, I think that's kind of where the story is going to go. So, really enjoying that. All the characters are very distinct and unique, and just have their own little problems. So, really fun to see. And like I said, the introduction of this latest character, I am very excited for, especially after seeing some of the variant covers. I think we are just getting a little peek at what the true capabilities are, especially because we also haven't seen Christopher do like some of the things that I feel like he's going to be capable of doing. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying this. And we are coming to the end of the first arc very quickly. So stay tuned. We'll definitely keep talking more about Christopher Chaos. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. If you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Chilling Adventures presents Madam Satan, Hell on Earth #1. This is a new book from ArchieComics from the Archie horror line. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. The story by Ellie Rahal with art by Vincento Federici, colors by Ellie Wright, letters by Jack Morelli. So in this issue, after Madam Satan waged war on Baxter High, hell descended upon Earth, and even she isn't safe. Madame Satan seeks refuge from the forces of Lucifer in a random suburban home, and who she meets there is surprising. But is this a powerful person, friend or foe? And can the two of them work together to find the Eldritch terrors and stop Satan's rampage? So I'm not too well versed with Madame Satan, but I think the book does a really good job at kind of catching you up on what's going on in the first couple of pages, introducing you to the character. There's even a little blurb about who Madame Satan is as well in the book. So I think you get enough context to enjoy this. Now, as you probably have seen from the channel, I've really been enjoying all these like horror one shots. Now, this says is a one shot, and I guess you do get a bit of a complete story, but there's obviously more gonna happen with this arcing overall story. I don't know when that's coming. I don't know what shape that will take, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was some fun as we transition into spooky season. Um, these one shots from Archie Horror have been a lot of fun. So, this is a really interesting character. We also have another character that I won't spoil it, but I've seen that character in another one of the one shots. So, even though everything is not exactly connected, reading all the one shots give you a little bit of background on like all these characters. And as you can see from the first few pages, like we have here, let me pull up some preview art. You have Sabrina, who like everyone's probably the most familiar with from the Archie horror universe. But obviously, things have gone very wrong for Madame Satan. As she escapes, she tries to elude these demons, hellfires everywhere. So, like, really cool stuff. I think Federici and Wright's art here with, big bright colors, big, beautiful lines, like, just really good stuff. I like the pacing as well. I also love the introduction. If it was Morelli's letters that are on here introducing Madame Satan and also the way the demons talk, I think that's really really good work. And then a few more pages here, like I said, there's gonna be some action here. I like the character designs. I like how the demons also look a little bit different, right? It'd be pretty easy to make them all look very generic, but I think the team has gone a little bit above and beyond to bring a really, really fun story here. So, um, overall, really enjoy this one. It's not my favorite one shot, and maybe I'll go back and once we are past the season, I'll go back and reevaluate which ones were my favorite. There's been some really good stuff from the Archie horror line, so make sure to go check that out. So, as always, if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know what other Archie one shots you've been reading. Make sure I've caught them all. I know there's one coming up pretty soon because it'll have art by Leon Kangas. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Usagi Youjimbo, Ice and Snow #1. This is a new book from DarkHorseComics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into the book. This book has a story, art, and lettering by Stan Sakai with colors by Hi-Fi Color Design. Of course, Stan Sakai does everything. I mean, if you've been a fan of Usagi Youjimbo, and something that's really pretty neat that I hadn't noticed, maybe this is something new that Dark Horse is now doing. Even though this is a mini series of 1 through 5, we have the little emblem here for Dogu Publishing, and then we also have the legacy numbering, so you can see the Usagi Youjimbo number 270. So that's pretty neat because this has been such a long running affair. But let's talk about this specific story here. In this issue, Usagi and Yukichi, who's his cousin, are still in the snowy mountaintops of northern Japan. Following Stan Sakai's Usagi Yojimbo arc, The Green Dragon, they are led to the hunt of a strange hermit who allows them to spend the night at her home from shelter from the snowstorm. Meanwhile, the maniacal Jay and his familiar Keiko are on Usagi's trail when they stumble upon a bandit lair and subdue the band of cutthroats and thieves. So yeah, it looks like there is a little bit of continuity here, but I'm always hopping in and out of Usagi Youjimbo stories. I feel like especially when they do a miniseries like this, they are very good. Stan Sakai is very good at making sure that you get a complete story. So I think there's a reward for you knowing some of the other stuff, and there's definitely references to other stories that you can see in the edit notes. But overall, you don't need that, right? The story is really fun, quickly paced. We immediately get the gang into trouble, and immediately things are happening into place. So this first issue really sets up a lot of stuff. I do prefer to read stories like this as a collection. So there's going to be 5 issues of this, but I do like to check out the first issue to see how familiar I am with this, because although there's a lot of familiar tropes and I think some story elements are very cyclical and familiar in that Stan Sakai likes to use in his stories, there's always some kind of twist or something new to this. So really interesting to always kind of dip in and out of this world. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here. As you can see here, we see the samurai rabbits as they come in. I love seeing the little lizards, although I would think they would be cold in the snowy mountains, right? Because lizards are cold-blooded, but I won't analyze it too much. They're ambushed by the bandits. There's definitely a lot of conversation on the first few pages, and I think that's just to kind of set everything up. As you can see here, there's a note on the second page as they're talking about their previous adventure with the Green Dragon arc. But that, like I said, that doesn't really affect my reading experience. It just slows down the pace a little bit. And then I wanted to get some pages of Jay and Keiko, just so you can see the threat and how different their approach is. Also, they capture one of the little lizards, so that's very unfortunate. So yeah, this was fun. I always love a Usagi Jimbo story. I love it even more when it crosses over with TMNT, but that's not the case here. And yeah, I'm always down to check this out. Stan Sakai is a master at his craft, and just everything. Every time he puts a new story on paper, I'm definitely here to check it out. So there's some really cool covers at the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And as always, if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.